What's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Scrubs Allowed podcast. We got a very eccentric looking seal over here. What are you doing over there, buddy?
Not much, man. Just kind of happy that The Last Dance was so great tonight, but sad that it's over. So I had to pay tribute. Wrong side. Sorry, I was looking at the mirror thing. I got the Space Jam Toon Squad going on, and I have this hat that I got recently, and I wanted to break out after watching episode 9 tonight, or 10, no, the last episode.
Well, 10 is the last one, yeah.
Scotty was just absolutely broken. And so I had to pay tribute. I had this new hat that I saw, and I've been looking at for literally months. Dude, this store down the road, it's like a hidden gem. I used to work at the one that the guy owns in Jupiter. They have all their hats over here now. And I've been eyeing this hat since literally ever, like 8 months. It's got the little pin. If you go and look at the Mitchell Ness collection, it's 1996. I don't know why I'm plugging them right now, but 96, 97 All-Star
So that's
game.
what the pin is for? Is for like their 30th year?
I don't know what it is, but on it for him it has the 30. I don't know if that's the number he used for the All-Star or if they did something different, because we all know back then they used their home and away jerseys.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, but I like it. Yeah, it might have been the 30th year of the All-Star game, possibly. But it's dope. And it also, this is really cool. They're like, oh, what do you mean, Scottie Pippen? Bomb. It's really neat. It kind of matches that color. Not really, but that definitely.
The hat does.
That definitely is bomb.
Basically, yeah.
And the logo for the 96 is cool. And I saw the logo for I saw their hat. I mean, I know the hat I have for the finals for 96.
Yeah,
isn't
we've
the
seen
same
that
hat.
one, I think.
But that hat that they showed off for the last finals was disgusting. Those little NASCAR.
Yeah, I don't know what that
going
was.
down it.
I don't know what that
who
was
did
that they were
that.
doing.
But yeah, this is just a tribute to that era of Bulls and just the culture icons that both Scottie Pippen, not much of a cultural icon as much as he was the fourth best player in the league on a team with Michael Jordan. I mean, Dennis was the second best cultural icon and all the crazy stuff he did. We'll talk about that.
He was a cultural something. I don't know about icon, but he was something.
No, I would say icon. Hey, Carmen Electra, Madonna, he's a cultural icon, all right?
Carmen Electra looked good no matter which era they were putting her in.
She probably still does look good. I haven't seen
they
anything.
had the interview. That interview was from
That's her now?
last year. The one with the split open shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But then the one where she kissed the trophy, obviously, was 98.
And there's probably she looks 5 years older.
Looks the exact same.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's why baby girl
is going to get the Carmen Electra treatment.
I mean, she's 26 and she looks 17. So
you shouldn't say that your girl looks 17. Make her 18. At least 18.
Oh yeah, she looks 18.
She looks 18.
You're right. But I mean, we'll see. I respected Rodman though. Like he said, like everybody, like anybody, somebody was gonna do this, and this. Like it was me.
Yeah. Like, well, we'll talk about that. We want to avoid spoilers. Everybody has known that Rodman's crazy, and everybody knows that Rodman dated Carmen Electra, and most guys age 25 to 35.
He married Carmen Electra, or he married
for like a year and a half or something. He married everybody, but anybody that's aged 25 to 35 has Google searched Carmen Electra before, so everybody knows what's going on. But we'll pay tribute to them a little later because we don't want to we want to avoid spoilers. But that's why Seal has his Space Jam get up, his tribute, even though Pippen wasn't in Space Jam, so the hat doesn't really work out as well.
For sure. But real quick,
yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. No Scrubs, one word is a promo code. Get 25% off. And if you're watching us on YouTube, smash that like button. That's what everybody says. I've always wanted to say that.
We have one of those? I mean, I guess we have to, right?
We do. We have the like button. You can subscribe. You'll get notifications. Do all that. If you didn't know, we are on YouTube. But, yeah, do all those things. It always helps. Yeah.
we're brushing up on our marketing game because we suck butt at marketing. So
yeah,
we're trying to get better at that. But no, so we are going to talk about The Last Dance. It's finally over, but we're going to wait till after the break to do that because, again, you guys might not have watched, so we want it to be the last thing we talk about. But the reason, I need to step up my hat game. I'm going to match Seal's hat game at some point. Once I make some money, I'm going to
I'm about to get rid of a couple of hats just because there's a couple. Actually, I might not. Because I saw a Facebook video how you can baking soda them in the bathtub.
Oh yeah, you can clean hats good now. You gotta try.
Never mind, and then you can do stuff to get. All right, so
but yeah, I'm gonna get there. But anyway, let's get to
I love that hat. I love that hat. LA has a lot of opportunity with the hat game.
LA has a lot of opportunity. My NBA 2K guy has a perfect hat that I actually
love that hat
in real life, and I'm gonna get it once this stupid quarantine ends. I'll probably find it online before then, but I'm picking up my hat game. But the reason I am wearing this is LAFC, the soccer team. The reason is because sports are coming back, guys. They're slowly starting to come back. We're seeing it. We talked about UFC coming back, and it came back again, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I'm talking about soccer with my hat right now. So LAFC, the MLS is really trying to come back. They've talked about it, but the soccer wave has already started. The Bundesliga, the German soccer league, has come back. It's here. This was the first weekend that they had. Yesterday was the first day. And it was odd because obviously there was no fans. There was social distancing, things in order. But I don't know what Seal's doing. But they were here and they played. And on the field, everything between the whistles was pretty much exactly the same. Borussia Dortmund won 4-0. Bayern Munich won 2-0. The good teams were winning. The bad teams were losing. Nothing changed. But between the whistles, everything changed. It was super weird. So the very first game that they played back, which I'm happy with, was Dortmund because Dortmund has to be the first game if it's going to be the German league back. But that's an 80,000 person stadium, 80+ thousand, with nobody in it. They're famous.
That place still looked beautiful with nobody in it.
It really did.
That we need to add that on to the sports tour. We really do.
I think I've mentioned it to this podcast before. LAFC's stadium is, I want to say 18,000, something like that.
Yeah.
Their entire supporter section, it's called the Yellow Wall, is 33,000 people.
Yeah.
That's one end of the stadium, but it was nothing. There was nobody there. They still had the yellow seats, but there was nobody there. And I was thinking that might actually have an effect on the game. I was thinking, well, maybe the away team is going to have a chance to do anything. Well, they didn't. It was 4-0. They got destroyed. But it was weird because they changed everything. The benches were separated so much that everyone was 6 feet apart. So the benches went down pretty much the entire sideline so that they were sitting there with their face masks on. When they scored, they can't celebrate with their team. They have to celebrate by themselves. It led to a lot of weird, awkward celebrations. I don't know if you've seen any compilations of that, but it'll be a guy cheering and then he turns around yo, where's my
favorite
team?
one was when he was just getting in the groove and his other buddy was like, yeah. And it was just some awkward, weird.
It was so weird. Yeah, we're so
silent
used to
rave
seeing,
kind of
we're
thing.
so used to seeing. Obviously, the fans get really big on these home celebrations. The guy tends to just run to the corner flag. His team's behind him. The fans are in front of him, and it's a big deal. So it's kind of weird just to see the awkwardness.
It is weird. That is probably one of the most beautiful sights in sports. Let me get a little closer, more clear. One of the most beautiful sights in sports is a soccer goal. No matter what brand of brand of football it is. I was watching Sunderland. They were up in the Premier League and they've got demoted 2 times in a row.
Right.
That place is massive, but it doesn't really matter in MLS where it is. That image, no matter what side it is, if you're looking back towards the fans or coming from the fans towards the field, that's one of the most beautiful pictures in sports every single time, whether you're a football fan or a football fan or a basketball fan. That's one of the best sights in sports.
and it happens every single time, and that's one of the best things about it. Like in basketball, you get these pictures, you get the Kobe cradle, you get Michael over Utah, like we saw again tonight. These pictures, but in soccer, that beautiful moment happens hopefully once a game, so
a couple
you
times
don't end up
maybe.
with a 0-0 nil.
But it broke my heart. It broke my heart because that's right where my seats are for LAFC. I need that.
Oh man, really?
And I know that when they come back, I've sent pictures. I think there's been pictures on the Instagram. There's been pictures on this podcast, but that's where my seats are. My seats are third row up on the corner kick spot, which is super cool because, one, you get to see Carlos Vela's butt basically kicking the corner kick. But then every time they score on that side, they come over to us. They come and they celebrate with the fans, which is awesome. So
yeah,
I'm going to miss that. But it's coming back. It's on its way. It's not going to have fans, but
for me, Travis, I got to say, it's really cool having you out there. Since everybody knows, since LAFC has gotten out there and you've chosen to ride with them because LAFC I'm so sorry. Carson Galaxy. I almost said LAFC Galaxy. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Everybody, I'm sorry. Sorry. But the Carson Galaxy, you said screw them, rocking with LAFC. The new guys on the block, they came out, was amazing. And of course, everybody would ride with the guys and gals, whatever league it is, people who are winning. But I decided for my homie in the MLS, I'm gonna rock with LAFC, and it's been really cool to see them score so much last season, and was looking forward to it this season. But it's really cool to see them score and start celebrating with the fans and being like, "Yo, my guy's there." That's really neat.
Yeah,
it's been really cool.
If you catch a certain camera angle, you can probably see me and Jake celebrating with these guys. Normally the camera angle comes in from the opposite way because the press box is up behind our back, so it's not going to really see us. Maybe you can see the back of my head. But anyways, back to what's really happening, the Bundesliga. How cool is it? Do you think, obviously this was the first week, and we haven't seen if anybody has contracted coronavirus or anything like this, but do you think it's a success to see these things coming in with no fans even? Do you think that's a positive, or ultimately you want it to get – obviously you do want fans, but –
It absolutely is a positive. One, it's going on. Two, we saw with the UFC event that went on where – was it Jeremy Stevens or the fighter going against Jeremy Stevens?
I think it was Jeremy Stevens.
Oh, no, I think Jeremy Stevens missed weight.
Well, he did, but he fought still.
It's true. So the coronavirus guy
showed
up.
Oh, yeah.
Tested positive tested positive for coronavirus.
Jacare Souza.
Got sent home. Fight's not happening. Since then, that's been a week and about, a day.
A couple days, yeah.
Yeah. So, and nothing's came from that. So I think we've seen that with proper things put in place to where you can make sure that doesn't happen. You can have a sport go on with no real problems. Gosh, that's
you good?
Two, bro. I'm so tired of saying but UFC has proven that you can have somebody come in with the coronavirus and still have the event be able to go on or the game go on and it not catastrophically ruin the rest of the games or the rest of the fights going on. And there were still fights that night, that Saturday night. I'm sure it was Tuesday or Wednesday when they tested everybody that got there in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And take the right precautions. And they did their due diligence and got him out of there, got him quarantined or whatever they had to do. And the fights were able to happen. And since then, nothing has came out to where anybody else has gotten it, that anybody that had to contaminate him or whatever they have, quarantine him, has gotten it or anything like that. So as long as we take the right procedures, I feel like the UFC has shown that that it can be successful and it can happen. Now, in the NFL, we have 22 teams that are in states and areas where you are able to have games right now without fans. and it's a bummer as a fan. But the fact that it can happen and these players won't be so subject to getting the virus if somebody else comes into the facility with it, because they're taking the precautions and doing their due diligence with it. I know when I go back to work, we're all not going in at the same time. When we walk in, we're doing temperature checks. If it's high at all, we're going home. I'm sure as a multi-million and million-dollar organization that the NFL and all these organizations are, they'll scale that times 10 and do even more. But it's possible, and you can't help but be happy and eager to see what's going to happen in a month, 2 months. I mean, we're talking September. That's 4 months from now, and we're looking good, man. And I'm just talking about football right now. Baseball should be going. Basketball should be ending in the playoffs. We have probably 2 weeks left of the playoffs going into the finals now. If it was real life situations, not real life. This is real life. But
yeah, the finals would be the first weekend of June. We'd be almost there.
So we'll see. But fortunately, thank you, Jesus. It looks allegedly we're there.
We'll see that the thing is the UFC showed that this could be possible. It showed that this could be possible with a positive coronavirus test. But the issue that we're running into for the sports that we really love, and we like UFC, we like tennis, we like golf, but we really love team sports. And UFC showed that it could happen with an individual sport. But when you have a sport, just to go back to MLS, there's 11 people on the field. But if Carlos Vela is the guy that comes positive, that's not a Jacare Souza kind of thing. You can't just say, all right, that fight's done. If Carlos Vela's the guy, you can't be like, well, LAFC game's over, or can you play without their star player? That's where
you would have to.
Well, you would, but that's where the difference between what the UFC did, and it's amazing what they did, and we're able to continue that card. But it's different with team sports because if a bench player catches it, you just throw them out and we keep going. But if a star player catches it, what do you do, and how do you asterisk that game?
I agree. I don't think you can asterisk it because everybody's in the same situation, especially in American sports. I mean, more so the Utah Jazz are going to benefit. I mean, that's a horrible. The Indianapolis Pacers. That was a horrible.
Indiana Pacers.
The Indiana Pacers, who play in Indianapolis, would fare more so with this probably because they're inland and they're not.
I think the Utah Jazz are going to benefit because everybody already got the coronavirus on their team. They're straight
now. Gone, and now it's like a 99.8 chance you won't get it.
Right.
Yeah. And if you do, it's not deadly. You're just going to get it again, which isn't good at all. I don't want to make it a light thing. But I just feel like when it comes to – they're going to definitely have to have some kind of way to the NBA. It's the end of trades. You can go through free agency, I guess, still, I think, and pick up whoever. It
depends on how they want to do it.
The janitor guy, like the NHL has with a goalie.
Veterans exception kind of thing.
Yeah, but more with the NBA, it's going to be that serious. But they're definitely going to have to alter the rules and the ways they're able to do it because, like, it's going to happen. Somebody is going to end up with it. Hopefully, it's not somebody who will factor so much like a Carlos Vela in soccer.
Well, and see, let's actually hold on. Because you said something cool, and let's factor it back to the NBA. The NBA has 5 players. Let's assume they come back. They're playing. They're doing their thing. It gets to the NBA Finals, and it's the Lakers versus the Bucks, and Giannis Antetokounmpo comes out with coronavirus. What can they do at that point? Do you just give the Lakers a sweep by telling Giannis he can't play? What do you? So then, how do you not asterisk that championship because Giannis didn't get to play?
All right, I got you. So that's the life we're living in right now, right? And that's the way it is. right? That's how you would have to look at it if you don't asterisk it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do we asterisk Golden State's 2015?
Heck yeah.
We do?
I do. You don't.
I do.
Oh, you
What do you
do.
mean I don't? I asterisk the heck out of it.
I also
Yeah, I guess
asterisk
that's
your
wrong.
Cavs championship too, though.
In 2016?
Hell yeah.
Because Draymond? Is
Punch
that
the guy
really
in
why?
the balls, yeah.
Oh my gosh, he was still there for 2,
There
3.
could be an
he was there
asterisk on every.
He was there game 5, game 6, and game 7.
He wasn't there game 5.
All right, well, he was there
Game
game
4
6.
was when he got the
All right,
penalty.
yeah.
You
All
guys
right,
came back
game
and won.
6 and game 7. He was there for 2 of the losses. And in the last game, when we didn't score no team scored for, a good 4 minutes? Why didn't he keep it locked down and keep us from scoring the last, 4 or 5 points to win the game? I don't want to hear that. But listen.
We don't want to hear any
You don't
asterisks.
know. No, Kelly Olynyk was on the Celtics and broke Kevin Love's arm. Broke it. We still took him to 6, I think, right? In 2015?
I don't pay attention to what the Cavs do.
I'm pretty sure we still took him to 6 in 2015. There's no reason we shouldn't have won. There's no reason that Golden State –
Robert Horry broke Steve Nash's nose by slamming him into the scorer's table and got 2 people suspended because of that same thing.
You're like, hey, he's from Canada. Huh? He can't take the old hip check.
So, no, I get what you're saying. The
So, I mean,
asterisk is stupid, but
you can't really asterisk it. It would just be a really – I mean, Milwaukee's going to be like – especially if it's in the middle of the series and it's 2-2 or something like that.
So let's talk about this. So who?
But I don't think that would happen. If it's the finals at that point in time, they're going to be biodomed. So,
well, let's say it does happen. Who do you think is testing? Because if it's the Bucks doctors testing, that boy doesn't have coronavirus. Nobody's going to say a word.
No.
If it's the Bucks doctors that have to test.
I disagree.
Oh, come on.
Rudy Gobert and Spida are the
regular season game. Nobody cares about that.
No, but they're the Utah Jazz.
In a regular season.
Nobody cares about that.
NBA
what
finals?
seeding is Utah Jazz right now?
Nobody cares.
It does. What do you mean nobody cares? You don't think the Cavs in 2016 we didn't come down and pull down and pump brakes? In 2015, you don't think we pulled down and pump brakes so we could face Chicago? Yeah, it matters that it happens. It definitely happens. Seeding where you are seated. I learned more in those last couple of years with the Cavs.
I'm talking the NBA finals.
Seeding matters.
If the team doctors are the people testing and the NBA finals happen, there's definitely a possibility.
It won't, and no, that's not how it's going to be because
that's who found it with the Jazz, the team doctor.
But were they in Orlando or Vegas where everybody's confined? If that's the only way it's going to happen. So in that instance, team doctors are out of the equation when it comes to that. The NBA is going to have.
You think they'd have their own? They probably have their own doctors to have less people, right? Just to add on.
Yeah, for sure. Because if if you have 5 or 6, it's probably going to be 12, probably I'd say. So you can keep it going.
Right.
There's 12 times. Is there 30 or 28 teams? 28 teams, right?
Well, there wouldn't be in that situation.
Well, if we're in the playoffs, 16. So, yeah. So I'd say if you have 12 guys, that's a lot better than having, 32? Because there's 2-3 team doctors. You could probably have 2 trainers. They'll probably allow 2 trainers. But those trainers who are dealing with the players, the NBA is not going to trust them to do
whoever
the
does the
testing.
testing will be a singular force, I think.
For sure, from the NBA. So there's not and do you really think the NBA is going to risk the future? Because if they let's say they were to allow the NBA to do their own testing, if the team slacked off to where Giannis gets it, even if it is right at the beginning of the finals, and then the guy on the Lakers, let's say Rondo, he's in game 3, he's like, dude, I got the virus. Then bam, everybody's tested. Everybody's going to have it now because Giannis has been playing and spreading it. Now the finals are scrapped.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm scared of. I'm just throwing hypotheticals. I think they would come out and say it, but I'm scared of that being the case and that being what happens is a high-profile player getting it in a big time.
The worst thing that could happen, honestly, I feel like, because it's going to happen. It's going to start in July, for sure. the way things are going now, at the latest, it's going to happen in July because they could come to Florida right now and play. It just has to be all
they
teams.
They come to Arizona together and play too.
Like looking at the Knicks and the Nets are looking at where they are right now, and it is literal hell in New York. Still, it's still crazy in New York. They're no.
They're not playing there. I mean, if they're gonna play, it's not. They don't.
But I'm just saying, they're like, it's not worth it. So they're just, they're gonna have to get all the teams to come together and come find an agreement, and that's gonna take about a month. About a month to happen. So I think July is the latest it's going to start. They're going to start next season around December, and they're going to maybe have a month off. And they're going to go all July and a little bit through August and just get through the rest of the season. I feel like they're going to go through the rest of the season.
All of it?
They have to.
No, they're not going to. There's no chance they do that. I put that at a 0% chance.
Okay.
No way they play the whole – maybe they'll play like 2 weeks of the season or something, but they won't play the whole – what's still left, like 28 games, 20-something games?
Yeah, probably. Because it
was
right after All-Star, right?
They can't butt up with football. They can't play alongside of football. I'm pretty sure that –
wouldn't that be
it would be awesome for the viewer, but I don't think they're going to want to do that money-wise. It's just not something that they can do. What
do you mean? ABC is ass, so throw buck. I almost said the F word. I can't now, but I don't want to. But throw basketball on ABC and have Fox, CBS, and NBC.
I get it. Football. I get it as a fan. I get it logistically as a network. I get it as all this, but they're not going to do that. I can't see them playing the full league. But
dude, it could happen if they play football at what's that thing called? Campus sports,
the worldwide of sports or whatever.
Yeah, the football place there. They play football there. Oh, dude, that would be awesome if we had football like every other day, 2 or 3 games being played.
I've heard that the California teams will play in Arizona, which would have then 4 teams because there'd be the 3 California teams and then obviously Arizona. So they could all play, even though they aren't together. There's San Diego and so I guess they could play each other twice real quick because there's the 2 AFC West teams and the 2 NFC West teams.
Yeah.
Right? No,
Seattle's ready to go, right?
I don't know all the states. I know that California is not ready to go. We're not close. We're not going to be close. Yeah. We're not playing anything.
Florida's ready. So. Florida is ready.
California's not going to do it. So that's what's so weird is seeing New York and California, they're not going to play.
You just told me the other day, stay-at-home order, good to go till August.
Well, L.A., so the L.A. County said that, which is obviously where the Rams and the Chargers are playing. L.A. County said it's possible to go all the way through August. So,
but still, that's the season. The credit to the NFL. Season's starting in September. There might not be a preseason.
Yeah, but the training camps, they might have to train in Glendale.
That's Arizona. What I'm saying. There might not be a preseason. We might have to scrap that. Maybe take that 17.
They want to scrap the preseason anyway. So
maybe take that 17-week season that they wanted and hold off a year and have 1 or 2 preseason games and go down to a 15-game season and do it that way. But they already came out. They're willing to extend it into the summer of next year or into the spring of next year. And whatever they have to do, they're ready for the Super Bowl to be extended to wherever they need it to be. So I guess that's not an option. They want all the games to be played, but they have to have a preseason game. I feel like just for those 4th, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th rounders who need that chance to shine and show that they are able to, because we wouldn't have a – could you imagine Tom Brady going in to right now, being drafted right now in the 6th round by the Patriots and there being no training camp and them just not keeping him, them keeping Jarrett Stidham or maybe a Drew Bledsoe, a Jarrett Stidham, a backup they already had.
Right.
That would be absolutely insane. There's so many, like when we do our redrafts, there's so many late round talents that could get overshadowed without these preseason games, without having a chance.
Yeah, Ryan Leaf would be able to start. right away because no preseason.
Dude.
He would have been the man, Ryan Leaf,
Dude.
doing his thing.
That would have been. But still, just to think about just Tom Brady, that changes a whole entire organization's luck, dude. Whole entire
Absolutely.
organization's luck.
And I mentioned it. I don't know if I mentioned it on this pod or if I mentioned it on one of the mini meetings that I have with a bunch of sports constituents. Yeah, look at me throwing my out there. But just imagine the NCAA, which is a bigger question mark that the NCAA will have their season. If the NCAA doesn't have their season, let's say the NFL does, all the pro teams do because they need their money. But they say, you know what, school is not in session because school definitely might not be in session. So school's not in session. We're just going to scrap the NCAA football for this year. If that happens, you don't have the Joe Burrow year to go be number one.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine if Joe Burrow had to be drafted based on his junior season. He wouldn't have been number one. Not even close.
Not even that. Just that. Let's think about real, like right now. Right now, if that doesn't happen, Trevor Lawrence is number one.
Absolutely. 100%.
That's how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
What other quarters? We had a slew of junior quarterbacks coming back for their senior season this year, and they're not named Trevor Lawrence. Who was the other cat? Was it the Wisconsin quarterback? He's going to be a senior next year.
But yeah, he will be a senior.
Then no, that might not be who I'm
bad.
thinking of. Maybe no, was it the Baylor? I don't know. But there's a couple different quarterbacks who had a prove-it season for literally millions and millions and millions of dollars. And to be a first round, every year it seems to be that teams try to find at least 3 or 4 quarterbacks that they can try to change their whole league around. Matt Stafford just totally put his house up for sale. The Lions are going to be on the market. It seems like maybe if Minshew doesn't get it done this year, they're going to be on the market. If we don't get number one, Trevor Lawrence isn't our guy, we got to find somebody else. So there's going to be so many question marks other than Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is not a question mark. He played 3 outstanding years for Clemson.
But if you look, going into the season, Tua was the absolute number one pick, 100%. Just like Trevor Lawrence is right now.
Because everybody knew Trevor Lawrence was going to come back for a senior year.
But that's what I'm saying. If we don't get to play the season, Trevor Lawrence, he's going to be number one. Whereas if we play the season, he could have a Tua type season to where he becomes number 5 instead
because of an injury.
That's what I'm saying is we will have to miss that, and teams could miss.
That. But what if he did? What if they're missing the reverse Joe Burrow and he goes from a outstanding year and almost winning the national championship? I mean, Joe Burrow won it, but being in the national championship to going sliding back and just having a mint year with great receiver. I mean, he had the same talent
like Sam Darnold
the year before, and having a mint year and sliding back and barely making it to a bowl game and barely losing to a team in the American Conference. I mean, they're not going to be as good as UCF because the Knights are beasts, and Joe Burrow had to have one of his games that you pointed out started the Joe Burrow run that everybody knows and has came to love. That started against UCF at that Fiesta Bowl. So I mean, what if that ended up being a reverse and that you don't get to see, and we see that his rookie year, and we all know the NFL stands for not for long, and if he comes out his rookie year and has a season, nobody knows who Josh Rosen is anymore.
If Jameis Winston can last 5 years and then get another contract, I think Trevor Lawrence will be all right.
But that's to be decided too.
It is. So all of those things are huge. Well, other sports are still happening. Football's not happening. But real quickly, I don't want to talk about the UFC again because we went long on that, and that's awesome. We had a lot to talk about. I really like it. I don't want to harp on the UFC because we've been talking about it the last few episodes. But what I did want to give a shout out, all the winners, obviously, you guys get your shout outs. Song De Jong, Christoph Jotko, Dan Ige, Claudia Gadela, and Alistair Overeem. You guys were awesome. They fought well. It was a good fight card. If you missed it, it's on ESPN Plus. You can watch it. But I actually wanted to give a shout out to a loser in the ring, not a loser in real life, but a loser in the ring, and Walt Harris. This man, I didn't even know about his story until Wednesday when they were hyping this UFC event. And this man had his stepdaughter kidnapped and eventually killed. She came back, they found the body. But so he had his kidnapped stepdaughter that he went and searched for, was part of it. He stepped out of the UFC because he wanted to go search for this girl and find his daughter. And she came up, passed away. Unfortunately, they found her remains. And he was ready to give it up. He was done. He said he had turned to these bad lives, which we can all expect. We can't judge this man if that kind of thing happened. But in a dream, he had his daughter come to him and hug him and tell him it's going to be all right, that he just needed to keep pushing forward. And so he decided to come back. And unfortunately, he came up on the losing end, and he lost to Alistair Overeem, a great fighter. But Walt Harris came out, and he almost put Overeem out in the first round. And I was kind of pulling for it. It was amazing. But just a shout out to the character of this man. You think these people that do these sports aren't always hard. And every time somebody loses, people call them soft. People say they fold. People say they lay down. But these are the type of characters these people have. So I want to shout out to Walt Harris, man. I don't know if I could do it. I don't have kids. But if I did and one of them passed away, like, I feel like I would be down the drinking train. I would not be trying to fight to be a UFC fighter. So shouts to him, bro.
Having 3 boys, one of them being a stepson, you don't look at a stepchild any different than you do your own. It might not be of your seed, but when you're with that kid and you're raising that kid, AJ's 8 years old, so I didn't have the fortunate time with him at such a young age, but I could only imagine having been with 2 babies, and there's no way I could deal with that. We've seen it so much with just superstars recently finding out about kidnappings and stuff like that, but to have that happen at such a young age, I know it's a stepchild, but there's no difference. Really, I mean, DNA is about the only difference, but that's as far as it goes. That you could see after that match, just him breaking down. It took me a lot to hold in my emotions, as it is now. It's just insane to think about. And for him to be able to do that, there's no way. I definitely would. I'm blessed to be able to be a server, so I wouldn't be too much of a entity or a hassle to take off what would be a good amount of months to be able to come back from that. But for him to have the mindset and the head to get through it and the heart to be able to do it for her, and to have that, see, my baby girl, she always has these vivid dreams and is able to wake up with them and talk about them. I get those maybe 2, 3, 4 times a month, maybe. And for him to have that at his age, he's like 38, 39, 40 years old.
Less than that. He's
really?
Probably mid-30s, like 35 or so.
Old. But all right. But to have that happen, that's absolutely amazing. I had a dream about my dad a couple weeks ago, and it's really cool when that happens. For that to happen with him while he's training, definitely trying to block that out a little bit. As fighters, they train hours and hours and hours, and you have to block everything out when you're in the cage, just like whenever you're playing soccer or basketball or anything like that. When you're in that octagon or when you're on that pitch or when you're on the court, that's all you can worry about. And the amount of training these guys do, it'll show if you don't train 80 hours a week at least. And for him to be able to block that out was absolutely commendable. The fight he put up, it looked in that first
I thought it was done.
round. I did as well. It seems like the clock got to him, and Overeem's ability to just get back on his feet He let him come back to Overeem, did that weird little twist thing.
Just to show he was defending, not even doing anything really.
Yeah, just to get, and he was able to end up getting back on his feet with doing a weird 360 thing too. While that was really cool to see.
It's a veteran move. I mean,
yeah, they were both old heads, and but it was, I like that. Shout out to him for real, and I like how Overeem at the end went up to him and told him, I would love to train with you. That would be absolutely amazing. And nowadays, with the way they have these growth hormones and the HGH shots and all that stuff, he'll be able to fight for another 5, 6, 7 years. And all that's going to be to his daughter. I'm not going to say stepdaughter. That's his daughter. That was definitely his life. You could see that when he poured it out on the mat after the match.
Absolutely. So shout out to Walt Harris, along with all the other fighters from the UFC, but we just don't have time to really talk about you guys. No offense. But we're going to take a break real quick. And on that somber note, we're going to talk about our sponsor, Manscaped. Quarantine's finally ending. We're talking about sports coming back, but we're still locked in right now. If you're out in California, you're still locked in for the foreseeable future. But Steel's going back to work. People are getting ready to go back to work. But still, Manscaped is here to help, and male grooming is still more important than ever. Just because you're going out does not mean you don't need to take care, because if you're not in a relationship, you might be going to meet new people. So now's the time to really jump on Manscaped. It promotes clean hygiene when it comes to shaving your balls. So now more than ever, it's time to Manscaped and chill.
For sure, man. For sure. And Manscaped is the only brand dedicated to the below the waist area with grooming and hygiene. And it's awesome. And right now, you're probably spending a lot of time. I know you're starting to get back into normalcy. You're spending a lot of time at home. You probably have a partner at home with you, as I do. And I've realized and noticed that they notice a lot more than you do when it comes to the below-the-waist hygiene. And I was so thankful and grateful when I got let me lower this a little bit. You guys didn't know that was there, did you?
Whoa, he's lowering it. We better watch. Oh,
no,
just the zipper.
No.
Okay,
just the zipper. I'm not showing no below-the-waist hygiene. Okay. I just want to show you guys this real quick. All right, this is the it comes in the
Perfect 3.0 package or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the Perfect Package 3.0. This is the Lawnmower 3.0. All right, this is the waterproof trimmer. It won't cut your skin. I'll do it right now a little bit.
Oh, man, I hope he gets cut, even though I stand for Manscaped, but I hope he gets cut.
Nah. All right. It's not going to cut you. All right.
And look, Seal has no arm hair because he's basically a baby.
Actually, no. Over the last couple year or two, I have started to develop quite the arm hair. I mean, it's still less than the average Italian, but I've started to get some. Yeah, that's definitely going to be noticeable.
You can't see it on the camera, man. I know.
But you don't see blood, so it's really cool. I love this thing. It comes with this little circular charger base that you can just put it into. The charger goes into the back, and what I really love about this, it comes with a box. And instead of the end being some weird thing that's just attached to the thing, and it's really hard to transport with a box, this can end up getting bent. But you can take this out, and it's actually a USB. So if you have a spare box or something, if you end up losing this, you can get another box. And it's easy to transport. It's easy to travel with. You're not going to break these palms. I absolutely love this thing. And besides the amazing don't know the word I'm looking for. What is it called when you're able to travel and carry it with ease?
Portability?
The amazing portability of it is awesome. You can break it down and everything, and it's cool. It's not going to break upon transport. And, yeah, it's got this little light in there too.
Oh, yeah, the light. I forgot about the light.
Yeah, it's got the light. It's waterproof. It's not going to cut you. I really do trust this thing. Like I've said many times, they have the trimmers on there as well that they have for Manscaped. If you get this, I really do not see a need for that.
Absolutely. And that thing, of course, comes in the Perfect Package 3.0 kit that has all kinds of other, we've shown you so many times, the deodorant, the toner, all of that. That all comes in the Essentials Kit. But for a limited time, if you do that, you get not one, but 2 free gifts. You get that travel bag that if you follow us all the way back, now it's about a month ago, Seal showed you the travel bag. It's a $39 deal. But then you also get the Manscaped boxer briefs. We have teased these things. We have talked about them every episode, but we have not shown you yet the Manscaped boxer briefs. They're here, right here, because we're finally not wearing them. The reason we haven't shown you is because we wear them all the time. These are the Manscaped boxer briefs, and it's hard to see, but you can kind of see there's a little ball pocket in there. It's hard to tell, but it's there. And it's stitched in such a way that it kind of protrudes out so that your balls just kind of chill in there. It's really nice. It's stitched so much differently from a regular, just one seam up the middle kind of guy that rides on you. It gives you the ball pocket, and it's free. It is free if you order now. And
I have mine as well.
Has his too.
If you're on YouTube watching us, if you're not, watch us on YouTube. You'll be able to see all this cool stuff.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I have mine right here. If you've been listening to us recently, you've heard me say there is no ball pocket.
My pocket pretty good right now.
Yeah, there is no ball pocket. Well, Travis pointed it out to me, and I have the center seam. I have it to where it kind of pokes out, looking like a nose.
So like no hurt on Manscaped.com.
So yeah, no, you guys did a magnificent job. I appreciate it.
Mine looks pretty good right now in the lighting.
You are the best as always. Great, Travis was able to give us a good show there. It's just, unfortunately, mine are like wrecking balls, and there's no pocket big enough.
Whatever. He likes to brag, and he wants to brag on YouTube. But anyways, that comes free if you subscribe right now. So do yourself a favor and always use the right tools for the job. Head over to manscaped.com. You get 20% off. You get free shipping. You get the travel bag. You get the Manscaped boxer briefs, all for entering the code NOSCRUBS, all one word, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code NOSCRUBS.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
If you work outside or do anything at all to where you get humid down there, you have to get that anti-chafing deodorant.
I bought more.
Dude,
I had another
more than ever, I am going to swear by it. The last couple of days at work, thankfully, tomorrow is my last shift doing curbside, but the last couple of days has been very rainy, very humid. And I am so thankful that I wore that stuff because it was sweaty.
You know who else is thankful
humid down there? Who?
Your balls.
They are.
Your balls.
My balls thanked me. You're absolutely right. But you have to get that anti-chafing deodorant. If you do anything at all with work or even working out and running treadmills and stuff, and you have thick thighs like your boy does, you have to get it. Like, you have to get it. I am not even kidding.
Absolutely. So, yes, of course, go to manscaped.com, enter No Scrubs, your partner, your body, and Seal's balls. Well, thank you. So, I actually have to take a break real quick to go to the bathroom before we get to this last dance thing. So, Seal, spit your whatever you want about sports for about 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
That's not a problem at all. That's the easy thing to do. I'm just really happy that sports are coming back. I was watching some KBO baseball. It's not the best. There's 9 teams, I believe, in this league. So the hitters are very familiar with these pitchers, and it shows. But I'm very excited. I'm happy that Jacksonville, my hometown, Duval, is opening up their doors to the UFC and allowing them to fight in the arena that I graduated high school in. Shout out to Sandalwood High School, class of 2019. You guys don't know who I am because I was only there for 3 months. But, hey, I appreciate you guys giving me that diploma when I didn't deserve it at all. You the best. But I'm just really excited to get back to normalcy. Not even 2 weeks ago, we were still kind of stuck in limbo with what are we going to do, what's going to happen. And now we seem to be getting on that trend to where we're doing good. It's a great sign when these coastal states who were devastated the most, especially on the East Coast, start to open up and restart life as we used to know it. I mean, not as much. I know I work at a restaurant, so we're opening up at 25%. Apparently tomorrow we're going to announce that we're going to be able to open up at 50%. So who knows? But I do know we are starting up in the right trend. It was a month ago when I was seeing those devastating scenes of New York with everything going on there. And I pretty much stopped watching and looking at things then. But we seem to be getting back, and I'm very happy.
I
I'm
just
very
hit my
excited.
knee on the table.
Oh, man, that hurts. I'm very happy. I'm very excited to be getting back to sports because there's nothing I really love more than sports. I've noticed that's really it whenever I'm with baby girl. I love watching shows too. I really do, but I don't really particularly get into sports or shows and stuff a lot. I can't get into seasons. The season shows are usually the ones I fall asleep to because I can watch it and I can back up and I can watch that for about a month. I don't really indulge in that stuff because I truly love sports and I'm very happy to get back to it. I can't wait. I'm excited for football. I wish the XFL wouldn't have went bankrupt and stayed going and figured out a way to go. I know Vince McMahon would have if he would have had the money. He thought he could do it by himself with one other cat. We ended up finding out was part of it.
He probably would have been fine without coronavirus, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, no, they would have for sure. But I just wish they would have been able to figure out a way to get it done because I feel like everybody would have watched it. Like everybody watched that. I don't know the exact numbers of the UFC 249, but everybody and their mama ended up ordering it.
Like yeah. Even though I complained, I tried to get you guys to write the petition. You guys didn't do it.
And it was $69.99.
It was. Not for me. I didn't pay $69.99.
You hooked me up, bro. I appreciate you.
It was tough, though. ESPN did their due diligence on trying to crack down on that bad boy.
For sure.
We found it.
We're about to start talking about The Last Dance real quick. So I want to hit the outro real quick for the guys that are going to hop off that didn't watch it. Be like the people that watched the UFC 249 on ESPN Plus and bought it for $69.99, like the respectable person that you are.
Be like those people.
Yeah, be a stud and not a scrub.
You're rude, Sil. You just said don't be like us. But anyways, yeah, so that was the episode. But now we're going to talk about The Last Dance because it happened. It's done. It's over. We might even jump back in midweek if we have time and talk just a Last Dance segment in general.
I would love that. Yeah. I'm pressing you on that. We're doing that.
Yeah, so we might try that. Continue to remind me because you know how I get when I work a lot and I get down in the dumps.
Too.
Don't want to record
notes everywhere.
But
I'm off Wednesday. I'm off Wednesday, baby.
All right. Well, I'm definitely not, but I still should be working from home. So just stay on my butt and we'll figure it out. But the Last Dance happened. I still haven't even posted that stupid Kobe Bryant run. I tried, just so you know. I couldn't get my stupid thing to be side by side. But
send me your pictures and I'll do it. We're doing it right after. That'll be up for you guys to look at tomorrow, even though we told you 2 episodes ago.
No, one.
It'll be up.
One.
All right. We told you last week it would be up. Tomorrow it'll be up. I
tried, man. All right. But anyways, if you're an intern that knows how to do these things and wants to work for free, because me and Seal both also work for free, come on down. We will gladly work with you.
We literally only need you like 3 hours a week.
Yeah, it's you just have to understand how technology works because me and Seal don't. And it's rough. I definitely don't.
I'd put it on Craigslist, but I don't want to get the wrong idea.
You might get some weird people, but they might know how technology works. But anyways, to the real, that's too much about our inner workings and how bad we are at this thing. So The Last Dance happened, and it's happened in its entirety. It's quote unquote over. So barring any bonus episodes like Tiger King and all those things had, this thing is done. Episodes 9 and 10, they weren't lacking. We knew they would be the last episodes. We knew what they were about. We knew it was basically the Pacers series and the Jazz series in 98 to be done. Those were 2 of the tougher series for the Bulls for different reasons. But there were a few things that jumped out to me that I didn't know about. You asked me because you were a little behind because you had to work. You said, was there anything new in this that I need to watch? And at first, because I was still mid watching it, I said, well, no, it's the Jazz series. We all knew the Jazz series. We knew the flu game. We knew that not the Craig Elo shot. Craig Elo was the Cavs. We knew the Brian Scott shot. So we knew all that. And so I was just saying, no, there's nothing new. But as I continued to watch, there was definitely new things. So we actually have a good bit to talk about, which is kind of fun.
For sure. I want to start out real quick.
Yeah.
I like doing personal things, and the thing that hit me the most really was in the whole thing. I'll talk about this again probably when we do the recap. Was when Michael Jordan lost his dad and how he lost his dad. How crazy is it that somebody on the team had something happen to their father the exact same way? I mean, I had to control my emotions once again. I'm talking about Steve Kerr. His dad was a president at a university. Well, I don't remember the name of it.
He was just a professor at UCLA at first. And I guess he was a damn good professor because he then became the president of the American University in Beirut. Is that where it was?
Beirut. Yeah, Beirut.
Okay.
And so he was to become the president and ended up disappearing. And I'm not sure if they ended up finding his body or what.
They said he was shot, so I'm sure they found his body if they knew he was shot.
Well, that's what Steve Kerr was told right off rip whenever he was told the news, was that he was shot. So that's what
So I assume they found his body then and knew he was shot.
Hopefully. But yeah, this guy's dad disappeared just like Michael Jordan's dad, and it happened while he was on the Bulls.
It didn't happen while Kerr was.
No, he was a kid.
He was in college.
That's right. That's right. It went from 1998 and
it jumped back.
All right.
He was like in his freshman year.
Yeah, at Arizona. At Arizona. That's right. It tied back into that. That was his only offer that he got last minute, so he accepted. Right. But that really hit home for me, and it makes you realize it really does happen to a lot more than just you, and you can really emphasize with them and that. I mean, they're at the pinnacle of their career. I mean, Steve Kerr wasn't even at the pinnacle of his career.
He was trying to become anything, which was nuts.
Which to think about now, Steve Kerr having to scrap and fight just to get anything to become what he is now is absolutely crazy to think about. But that really hit home for me.
And not to belittle anything about these dads, but I wanted to actually shout out and say how brave Steve Kerr's dad was, because when he was supposed to start over there in Beirut, the president that was there before him got kidnapped. So I don't know if that guy lived or died. They didn't actually cover that in the documentary. But Steve Kerr's dad went over there and then kind of made a joke to the reporter that said, well, I was supposed to meet him in June, and if I had met him in June when I was supposed to, it could have been me that got kidnapped instead of him.
Yep.
That's how much he just understood, listen.
And he had his family with him.
Yeah, this is what has to happen. This is how the job works. And that's amazing, because I like to think that I'm a pretty solid dude, but if somebody said, hey, you want to come overseas and take this guy's place? I'd be like, yeah. And then right before I go take his place, he gets kidnapped by locals because they're in like a civil war. I would be like, maybe I'll stay over here. We're good.
Yeah. And so then for him to get there,
huge props.
For him to get there, become the president, and then go on and say that to the press of that country.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that got released, I'm sure, was through America, but there was definitely a home press there, and to say that might have sparked a little something. But yeah, Steve said he was in college, and his mom and his siblings were there with his dad, and he got a call, and he was told that his dad was shot. That's crazy. I was told that my dad got into a wreck, which is not as insane. It's wrecks happen shootings happen all the time, but that's something you can kind of reckon with a little bit more and not have so much rage and anger stemming from it. I mean, it was a single car accident, all that stuff, but just to have it happen and see that it happened again, and to somebody that ended up being on the Bulls. Michael Jordan was already on the Bulls. it's insane. And I texted you like, another security guard shout out. I didn't know it was going to come, but I definitely knew when I saw it. Gus, was it you said? What's it? How do you say? Gus Lett?
Just got let, yeah, I think.
He came about. We saw in episodes prior. I forget the guy. Do you remember the guy's name with the curly hair?
John had a hard last name, like Malkovich or Mankovich or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But we shouted him out. We didn't know we were going to have another security guard shout out. Got to shout out Gus Lett. He probably was there whenever the other guy was there.
He was the head too. I think he was like the main security guy.
It sure looked as if he was very lax and chilling. Yeah, shout out to him. He came and really connected with Jordan and became his right-hand man whenever his father passed away. After that second championship, he was really close with Jordan. You saw him walking with him, even not in the arena. He was with Jordan. It seemed as if he became his little bit of private security right. At that point in time. And just the bond that they had with each other. He was an older cat, became a sub and father figure for him, which is absolutely awesome. And after one of their victories in the finals, Jordan snatched the game ball and gave it to old Gus, which was really cool because, I mean, there's one game ball. I mean, I'm sure there's other balls that you use, but right. If nothing happens to that ball, there's one game ball. So to get that and give it to Gus, the security for the Chicago Bulls, who ends up having a relationship that's mirrors a father to the greatest basketball player, second greatest basketball player to ever live. Oh, I'm kidding. That's a joke. But it's awesome. It was phenomenal. So yeah, I definitely wanted to shout him out.
And on top of that, just the relationship that they had was more than just his security guard. And that's what he was by title. So that's what we talk about it with. But his wife was on there talking about how Jordan called him at 2 a.m. And not only did Gus answer the phone and talk to him, but Jordan was crying about his dad, I guess. And so Gus went to his house and went and met him at 2 a.m. So it wasn't just some random thing. And then obviously, I say obviously, if you haven't watched, it's not obvious, but Gus got cancer and ended up dying from the cancer. Jordan, it came out a little later, Jordan paid for his entire medical bills. So there was a real relationship there that was more than just, hey, you're my buddy. I really like you. I like that you protect me kind of thing. So it's really cool. And we wanted to shout out to Gus for those people that he didn't have to do that. He could have just been his security guard and been like, listen, I'm a security guard. I'll protect you. I do this. When you're at the United Center, I'll take care of you. Otherwise, I'm going to go home. I'm going to eat dinner with my wife. And I'm going to be done. But he didn't do that. He stepped up. He did his job. And more than that, he was a friend to Jordan. So we wanted to shout that out as well.
For sure. And he was always there night in, night out, before games, after games, practice, between games.
Practice.
Unlike somebody else. Somebody else decided to take vacation.
So the series culminates, obviously, with the 1998 finals against the Utah Jazz. It's Stockton and Malone's second chance. It's their revenge tour. They're here. They're going to try to beat the Jordan Bulls, who are trying to go for their second three-peat. And the Bulls win game 1 and 2. It looks pretty good. The Jazz come back and they win. Or no. Yeah, that's how it happened, right? Or did they split the first one? But anyways, the Jazz come back and they win game 3, I'm pretty sure. And then there's a practice, obviously, because you take a day off. Nowhere to be found is Dennis Rodman. Rodman's not at practice, and hilariously, the cut of this documentary did it perfectly. So it goes to Phil Jackson getting interviewed, and they're like, where is Dennis Rodman? And he goes, all we can say is he's not here. And then it cuts to Dennis Rodman at the WWF at the time, for all you older listeners. The WWF fighting – actually, it was probably WCW because they fought on 2 different days. But anyways, fighting with Hulk Hogan and the NWO, which I believe was WCW, in the middle of the NBA Finals. This is before Game 4. This is when it's not like the Bulls are going for a sweep. It's not 3-0. I think they were up 2-1. And I think they might have lost Game 4. I don't remember all that. I know they won in 6, but they were there, and it was not a sweep. It wasn't like Dennis Rodman called Phil Jackson and said, yo, can I do this? It wasn't like he cleared a vacation ahead of time. He just walked out. Can that happen today, Seal? Can that happen at all?
It could.
Who can do that?
Oh, I got it.
And then, by the way, for you listeners that didn't watch, Dennis Rodman, if you didn't watch it and you're listening, this is kind of weird, but Dennis Rodman showed up to Game 4. I mean, he was there. He started. He played. Yeah. He played his normal amount of time. Like, that's what I don't think could happen.
It could happen. But it has to happen with teams that was like that. Let's go Golden State. Let's say Draymond wanted to go do it. He's I think he's made appearances on the WWE.
Who knows?
Let's say Draymond wants to go do it. He could have done it. 17? Probably not during Toronto, but the year before 2015, let's say, he kicked nuts. So 14 maybe, I don't know. One of those years they were there. Let's go 17 maybe, I don't know. Yeah, 17. Yeah, the 17. Let's go 17. KD's first year.
Okay.
If Draymond would have went and did the same thing, I feel like that. Okay.
You don't think they suspend him one game?
No.
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 Do you think Dennis Rodman actually told Phil
all right,
Jackson?
So you think Silver would do it over Stern? I
think so. I think he might. But do you think that Rodman actually told Phil Jackson that was happening and Phil just was covering at the media, like not going to say, hey, we told him he did that. He was just like, oh, he's not here.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what I think happened too. I think.
What about Chris Bosh?
With your Heat teams?
Not my Heat team. Don't ever. I will find a way to smack you from Florida. Don't you ever. The other day I was at work and it was raining outside, so I wore my Heat hat to work. The one I bought on the way to my Heat game.
Yeah.
Not the preseason one last year, just a random one. I just wanted to fit in and enjoy it. Yeah, that one. Wore that because it was raining. I didn't give a shit about it. One of my coworkers, he came by just to get some food and stuff. Let's go Heat! Bam! Threw that thing right on the wet cement parking lot. I don't give a damn about no Heat. Don't you ever. But no, Chris Bosh, if he would have did, I mean, Dallas, he would end up getting booed off the team. But I don't feel like one, it wasn't known until it happened, until it came out, and he was there.
How is it not known? He's on national television on the wrestling.
That's what
thing.
I'm saying. Until he was there and it happened, that nobody knew about. It wasn't breaking news. Dennis Rodman is going to be at the WWF or WCW fight tonight to help out Hulk Hogan and the NWO. That wasn't, or NWO Hollywood, as Hulk said. But it wasn't a story. Today, I feel like there's no way in hell he'd be able to set that up. Chris Bosh or whoever it is, Draymond, would be able to set that up and have that plan to happen without it becoming breaking news or some plot for them to get more people to watch it.
And I feel like it happens more now because I feel like Gronk has done that a couple times. I don't know if it was during Super Bowl week, but Gronk has done that multiple times throughout the season to where he's just gone and been on wrestling and done stupid things.
And showed up and nobody knew about it beforehand?
I mean, somebody probably knew about it, but like that happened is what I'm saying.
So maybe if it happens like that and it's a legit surprise, then maybe that's just a card Vince McMahon likes to play, and that's one of the only times, only ways that would get through is if they do it through wrestling in that way. There's no way in hell they would ever do that.
The Bulls, I think, knew about it, though. That's my opinion. I think the Bulls.
And they tried to make it more than what it was. They're like, he broke a chair over a man's back.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Like, he kind of came out, talked
He was a novelty. We've seen it before.
He talked some shit with Hulk Hogan. As they were walking out, I feel like whatever his name was with the long hair, forget his name. But bashed him a couple times and walked out. Like, no, he didn't really do that much. But I could see it happening nowadays, but it's not going to happen. Siakam ain't going on WWE during the Toronto.
It's weird
finals.
that it's during the finals. I think that's what really throws me off because I'm pretty sure the Bulls knew, and I'm pretty sure that they cleared it, and it's not a big deal. They knew he'd be back. They knew a practice.
But also,
yeah.
F. Jerry Krause. So,
well, especially for Dennis, but a practice, and I'm not privy to the NBA Finals practices, but a practice during the NBA Finals is not some sort of let's tire out our entire team and do something crazy. They're not. Maybe they're working on free throws. They're working on this. Maybe they do a couple of set plays, but it's not an intense practice. If you have every other day that you're playing a game, that practice isn't. Allen Iverson said it best, man. He ain't worried about practice. He's worried about the games. And I'm pretty sure if he didn't clear it with the Bulls, I think it would have been a much bigger deal. But the way that Phil Jackson handled it, the way that he was joking about it, that the meeting before the game and the team all kind of jumped on Rodman and were just kind of razzing him a little bit, I feel like they knew about it.
And they even showed when they were in the playoffs more than ever, practice probably doesn't matter that much. Because when Jordan got that rebound and there was 17 seconds left, Phil said, I'm not calling a timeout and giving them time to get a set play going, which means they can't call a set play that they learned in practice. So they have to go on with what they've been going through the game and the practice they did and the preparation they did before the whole series began.
Yeah.
And they were
able
to go. You're
not teaching anybody anything between games 3 and 4 of an NBA Finals. You're not
and
teaching.
Jordan was able to go in and pass it out to Steve Kerr and get the game going. And that was without any presets from practice. So I feel like more so in the middle of a series, practice really doesn't matter that much. You're not really going off of adjustments. You're more so trying to get through your philosophy, especially with Phil, your philosophy and make them work and get that triangle defense working against a team that you know what they're going to do because you've been talking about it for the 4 or 5 days before the series even started.
Yeah, they definitely overblew it, but it's still surprising to me that he would do that, and it shouldn't be because it's Rodman, but just that anybody would do that, it just baffles me. But
look, I got it.
Yeah,
wearing the hat because I had to shout out Scottie Pippen, and I told you guys we'd talk about it later. Game 6, beginning of the game, goes up for a dunk, comes down. He said he jammed his back or something happened.
Yeah,
to
like
his
when you
back.
land, it like.
Yeah,
we know. We know about
I know.
Yeah.
I got him loud and clear. And they showed him walking off and stuff, and then he comes back, and he was pretty much a decoy. I mean, he shot it a couple times, made it, had that nice little fader. But just got to commend him for coming out, clinching the series, and it was everybody gives all the credit to Michael, and you got to give him credit. But for Scottie to come out and be a decoy, like he's I was just a decoy the whole game, just to be a decoy and guard and clog up some of the spacing and just the
passing lanes.
Not the passing lanes, but the
charades over here.
The defense.
Yeah, that you're not doing defense with your charades.
No, bro. But just making the defense think about him, just being on the court and withstanding that, because we both know what back pain feels like. I definitely know it happening in the middle of a basketball game. And, man, got hats off to him going back out onto that court and legit just being there just to be there. That's it. He knew he couldn't really give anything else than be there. And he said, damn it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and let's talk about on the other side of that. You said that people want to give shouts to Michael Jordan and put it all on him. And that's the Michael Jordan lovers that do that. The Michael Jordan haters like to say –
the left hand going, boy.
The Michael Jordan haters like to say that he was a crappy teammate, that nobody wanted to play with him. He did everything. All of this, but what did we see from Scottie? Scottie respected Jordan, and it showed when he said, I didn't want to have to go tell Jordan I was done. He didn't want to go tell Mike, I was done. And then you saw what Michael said to him. He came up and he said, listen, man, we just need you on the floor. Just do whatever you can. We're here. Like Jordan, these guys did want to play with Jordan. All these people that think he's just the worst teammate. It's probably the same with LeBron. I'm not taking sides at all because so many people say LeBron's a bad teammate too. These guys do want to play with these guys. And all the things that come out that say like Jordan was just a jerk to his teammates, an a-hole, all of this stuff. They loved him, man. They wanted to play. Michael
Jordan punched Steve Kerr in the face and still dished him the ball for the game winner.
Right. People did want to play with these guys, and you saw that, and that's what I liked about this Peeled Back documentary is Jordan was – and when he was sitting there before the last play and Pippen came up to him and said, listen, all I can do is go out there and stand in the paint and try to take a charge. That showed both people. It showed how tough Pippen was to be out there, but it also showed how understanding Jordan was, where most people thought, all right, he's just an asshole. And if somebody came up to him and said, all I can do is take a charge, he wouldn't take it. He'd be like, no, you step your game up, you do this. But Jordan was just like, all right, I guess it's my business. And that shows how great he is too, to say, I'll take care of the rest.
The game before, he took 5 charges.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's insane. Like it's outstanding respect, and more so after they clinched it, the celebration. I think it was Rodman that came up to him and was just hugged him and just and you could see him just grimacing, but taking it, just enjoying all of it, not letting it be a factor at all, and that's a whole mental thing, and. Shout out to Pippen, dude.
Yeah, we saw 2 big mental challenges that were overcome, and the reason we talked about Pippen's is because nobody talks about that one. People talk about the flu game all the time, so we're not going to.
Is it not crazy that it wasn't even a freaking flu game? That it was a freaking food sickness.
It's so funny because
pizza.
It's so funny because everyone on Twitter that I saw was just saying, I'm not going to eat pizza in Utah anymore, blah, blah. That was so intentional. Nobody said that.
Oh, yeah.
Five dudes from the pizza thing showed up in Utah. Yeah, they meant to give him food poisoning.
They knew who they were giving the pizza to. They knew what was going down, and he paid for it. But in the end, they paid for it.
Also, what sort of moron orders the pizza for Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Order it under any other name in the world. Why are you ordering it?
That's why if you're that big, I saw a string meme thing with Tony Hawk's tweets, and he ordered a rental car under his name, and he showed up and he was looking up and he didn't see his name, so he asked about it, and the guy was like, oh yeah, I thought it was a prank, so I took it off. Like you don't have somebody that can do it for you? That's insane.
Yeah, you have to order, and I wouldn't know. I'm not a celebrity by any means, but I can't imagine that you don't set it up as someone else. You got to expect it. Of course, the people in Utah are gonna go ahead and give you a hard time. So that was stupid, but that's the flu game. That's something that's been talked about many times. So that's why we wanted to cover Scottie Pippen's back instead of Michael Jordan's flu game, because that's been covered many, many times. So, of course, the Bulls go on. They win. He did the whole Brian Scott push-off, not a push-off, made or D, given the thing. All that. We saw that. We knew that. Everything with that was fine. But something we did not talk about all that much, or is not talked about as a grand scheme, is Phil Jackson's role in not bringing this team back. So everyone blames Jerry Krause for not bringing the team back.
Bro, fuck Jerry Krause.
So exactly. So everybody blames Jerry Krause for not bringing the team back. But at the end of the day, we have a lot to unpack here. But
dude, it was mind-blowing.
Jerry Reinsdorf and Phil Jackson both said Jerry Reinsdorf offered Phil a chance to come back. And Phil said no. Now, obviously, that bridge had been burnt. Jerry Krause did do a lot of things that was not going to bring him back. But the offer was there, and Phil Jackson was the one that stepped out.
Yeah.
Do you think any blame should be now, not blame, but given to Phil instead of everything Jerry Krause is the devil kind of guy? Like, what should we look at here?
Absolutely, there's going to be some sort of flack on Phil Jackson now. I can not only imagine what it would be like. We'll talk about that in a second, but I could only imagine what it would be like if he did decide to do that. But he pinned on Jerry Krause's statements all throughout the year and what he said, and he felt that Jerry Krause would be upset. And we all know Phil Jackson is this big Zen guy and wouldn't want that and all that stuff. So I feel like if Phil Jackson would have been any other guy, that would have been the biggest, like, screw you.
Yeah.
We're coming back. We're getting 7. You can't break us up no matter what you say. Anybody else, I feel like, would have done that. Anybody else. Maybe Popovich probably would have left.
Maybe.
But
let's start the hypothetical. It looks like
Dwayne Casey would have definitely came back if he would have been given the opportunity.
So it looks like Phil, at least in the timeline of the documentary, it looks like Phil was the first offered by Reinsdorf. Let's imagine that he came back. Jordan now has said he would have come back.
Yeah.
So,
dude,
who else would have come back from that team? Do you think everybody comes back?
Real quick, Jordan, he was shaking.
He's mad. He was mad still.
That's the first time he had seen that Jerry proposal, and then I'm guessing they showed him Phil saying the same thing.
Showed what they showed, at least what they showed on camera, was Jerry saying it wasn't possible because they all would have cost too much money, and that's the reason. But
he also said he talked to Phil, and Phil didn't want to come back. He said that in there too. And that's when Jordan was shaking and was like, yeah, if Phil would have came back on a 1 year, I would have came back on a 1 year. We would have had to talk to Scotty a little bit, but he probably would have came back. Kerr would have came back. And I agree. I feel like Scotty maybe more so. All these guys, Jordan knows for sure he's going to have to take a little off because, like the owner said, they would have had to ended up paying these guys just for the market they are. Ron Harper, Steve Kerr, all these guys who weren't Michael Jordan.
Right.
And I feel like everybody would have went on a 1 year and probably took a pay cut except for Scottie Pippen. Dennis, you could probably talk Dennis into doing anything. But Scotty would have wanted some type of money. He took enough of a pay cut.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to have to pay him maybe right around the same as Michael would end up getting for that 1 year. Because like Michael said, he had been signing 1 year up to that point.
And who knows how greedy Michael Jordan was back in the late 90s? We don't know. But if they would have told him, hey, you were going to retire anyway, we're going to offer you a lot less to make sure that we can give Pippen what he wants, maybe he would have done it.
If they would have told him, we'll give you both $15 million for this year.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. If Scotty would have said no, if Scotty said, listen, I want a max or I want X amount of dollars.
Well, what did Scotty get? Scotty got like $16 million for 5 years or something.
Well, he got traded. So he was a sign and
trade.
No,
before that.
The bad contract?
The 6 year.
That was like
for $16 million?
Yeah.
What if they would have said we'll give you both $16 million for 1 year?
Well, what I'm saying is what if they would have not talked to Scotty first, but figured out Scotty's contract first, whatever he would agree to, and told Jordan, listen, you got to take the rest. Even if it's as low as 12, 13 mil, do you think Jordan would have done that, or do you think he would have been like,
yeah,
I have to do it? Okay, cool.
Because you could tell Jordan wanted 7.
But did he wanted it in 98 or did he want it in 2017 or 18, wherever that interview was?
No, he if he could have went back and Phil would have told him, if Phil would have said, I'll get back to you.
If Phil said, I'm here, Scotty said, I'm here.
Whenever, even before that, whenever owner Jerry told Phil says, all right, let me go and I'll think about it. Calls MJ. Hey, Mike, they told me I can come back next year. Who did? Jerry didn't. Owner Jerry did. What do you think? I've already said 1,000 times. I ain't playing for nobody unless it's you. I'll come back if you do, Mike. Let's get it. All right. Talk to Scotty. Mike, he always would get people going on the court. You don't think Mike could get it would have happened. And if they got 7, Mike, hey guys, see if we can get 8.
Well, hold on. Let's back up a second though. Let's back up. Right. Do you think they would have got 7?
Oh yeah.
The 99 Spurs, which Eddie is gonna, if he's listening this long, the 99 Spurs were the number 1 seed in the West. They dominated everyone. They won 4-1 over the Ewing-less Knicks, who had finally made the final. Do you think the Bulls would have beaten that Spurs team? I mean, Duncan was entering his prime and was darn good. That was the lockout season. They went 37-13.
Big man. Yeah. What about the
who would have stopped Duncan on their team, Scott?
It doesn't matter. What about the big man on Utah that was in there for the redemption, that was trying to get that ring finally, who was great at scoring, probably maybe better at scoring and getting buckets than Tim Duncan. Jordan found a way to get it done. You can't ever, like Jordan said, when we're close, when we're there, I always knew. That's what he said after 6. Yeah. When we're close, when we're there, I always knew we would get it done.
But
I always knew we would get it.
Duncan was really coming into his own, of course, that time. They almost swept the playoffs. Granted, they had a shortened season, but they were the number 1 defensive team in the entire NBA. They lost 1 game to the Timberwolves in the first round. Then they swept their way to the Knicks, where they really should have swept again, but they lost 1 game. But they had the Twin Towers with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. They were a squad, dude.
I know they definitely were, but the Twin Towers and Robinson and Duncan, in 7 games in the finals against the Chicago Bulls. Also, again, like Jordan said, it never matters. In the finals, you got to come to Chicago. You have to come through Chicago.
Which is funny because they had to go through Utah in that 98 series. Utah had the home court advantage.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. But still, like, you have to play in Chicago. You have to play you're going to have to play pretty much what he's saying. You're going to have to play the Bulls for 7 games. You're not going to get us in 4. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to play us in 7 games. And I don't see them losing the next year. Let's go to 2000. That's the Lakers and the Sixers, or is there one before that?
There's one before that because the Lakers won in 01, right? It was the 01 or 2001. No. The 2000 was the Pacers and Lakers.
Okay. Well, that would be a completely different story nowadays if we're talking about.
If they were going for 8?
No, yeah, if we're talking about Phil staying.
They wouldn't have kept staying. Like, Phil just as well as we do. Like, he's eventually, and I think that's the reason he left. He's quote unquote just like above it all, and he's like, listen, this was my time. I'm good. Let's give someone else a chance.
You're right, and it was very obvious. Owner Jerry wasn't about to tell dickhead Jerry, like, listen, you just need to worry about baseball and worry about talent. Stop trying to ruin the basketball side.
Also, I think Shaq averaged like 40 points that series, 40 a game. He was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, no, I feel like that's whenever Jordan would have hung it up and we would have never had to see Wizards Jordan, which would have been great.
Oh, that would have been cool.
That would have been great. No, we would have never had to see that.
That's what I'm saying, to never have to see Wizards Jordan. If you would have –
I personally am happy because that's the most I remember Jordan on the court. And it does kind of suck, but I don't remember what happened at the end of the shot. I remember seeing Jordan going up for the shot. I remember Jordan, trying his damnedest to do his fadeaway. And that's what I remember about it. And that's what I feel like what he was trying to give to the kids who were born in the 90s to 95 who don't really remember, because I was watching. I remember I had on Facebook years and years and years ago a little thing I did that I blacked out everything on the picture of him making the shot against the Jazz, but all I did was color out Jordan and his shoes and everything and the ball and the time clock, I think. And but I remember that. I remember that shot. I remember what it meant, and I remember watching the celebration and whatever that plaza thing, whatever they said it 1,000 times. And I remember them booing when Phil Jackson was talking about the general manager, Jerry Krause, and I did not understand it as a 7-8-year-old kid. I did not get it. I was 8, I believe. I did not understand it. But to see it now, it's crazy, and it's just baffling. And to see Jordan just kind of sitting there just so pissed off and shaking, and you have to feel bad, man. Rarely will you ever feel bad for Michael Jordan, but you have to feel bad for all these years later for him to see that and to think it could have been more.
Yeah.
No matter what, if it would have been 7 or 8, 7, it could have been more. It's so
So we're not going to harp on it, but just imagine we both. I'm going to speak for you, but I think you've made it pretty clear. We both think Jordan would choose to go 7-1, say beat the Spurs and then lose to the Lakers, 7-1 in the finals, and not have to go up against the Wizards instead of being 6-0 in the finals and playing out his career. But then we got to think, what would all of the MJ defenders that say, well, he's undefeated in the finals have done if he would have lost to those Lakers? That would have been kind of funny. But we don't really have to talk about that. But that's just a funny thing those are what I think of randomly throughout when I'm showering and stuff, is what would the defenders would have say if he went 7-1 but lost to the Shaq Lakers?
Yeah.
But
nobody cares about the losses, really. They care about the wins.
They do when it comes to the LeBron Jordan argument.
Well, he lost 6, bro.
It's true. I'm a Jordan. I'm on Team Jordan. It's just funny that I don't like the people that argue he was 6-0 anyway. That's a dumb argument. Look at all the other things that he did. Don't argue that he was 6-0.
Well, you also have to look at what he had. And one of my biggest things, like I'm really, the more I think about it, the more I'm starting to I don't want to side with one person. I'm just going to be one of those people who are just going to say they are both great basketball players. They are definitely on top of everybody else. It definitely makes me appreciate 2005 to 2011 when it was LeBron, Kobe, LeBron, Kobe. But it really makes me appreciate that but dude, this is going to go I didn't get Michael. I didn't get to see Michael. So it really makes me appreciate being able to see LeBron really come in I'm blessed and grateful that it was for my Cavs. Unfortunately, he's an ass clown and decided to go get 2 other rings for another freaking franchise that I live close to now, which really sucks. But I love the weather. It's great. But he came back to get one for us, but I'm fortunate for that. But it's very fortunate to be able to see a polarizing figure in a sport that I love in basketball, to see that in 100 years when we're gone, this debate is still going to be there.
And there will be a third person too, somewhere that we haven't even met yet.
Oh, for sure. Zion's going to be up there, but when you look at Zion and who he is and how big he is and what he does, when you look at the end of it, you think maybe top 10 will be his peak.
Well, I'm saying there's somebody we've never met yet.
Dude, yes.
When we're 90 years old on our deathbed, there's going to be like a 35-year-old kid in the NBA rolling people and be right there.
I agree, but the way the NBA is, and like Kobe, rest in peace, pointed out, when he entered the NBA in 96, 98, it was a lot older than it is now. And nowadays, the NBA is forever changing. It's became kind of like the NFL. They're always looking for the new. A lot of these guys who came out really highly touted aren't really it anymore besides the rare few. Even Karl Anthony Towns, who is a beast, isn't a peak predominant marketable player that is absolutely outstanding the way that LeBron James and Michael Jordan is and was. So it's definitely going to be harder for that to happen. and the way the NBA is now and the way it seems to be going, the younger that it is and the younger that it stays.
Yeah, we'll see. Who knows? I think it's on the up and up, and I'm so tired of comparing eras. I don't want to do it. Obviously, I don't like Jordan, so if anybody ever wants to argue it, or I don't like LeBron, sorry. So anytime somebody wants to argue it, I'm just going to be the devil's advocate and hate on LeBron because I couldn't care less. But I would much rather just say, listen, let's appreciate greatness. Whoever's there right now, whether it be LeBron, Steph Curry, hopefully Durant comes back at his at least 85% of his peak. Giannis, Zion, I don't care who it is. Let's appreciate them all. And that goes with every sport. We're talking about the NBA right now.
Yeah,
that goes with every sport. And I just wanted to say, because we are done, I don't know why I still went off right now, but we're finishing this thing up. So be like Jordan, man. It's easy to say now. This is our going out, and the easiest stud that we can talk about is Michael Jordan. So be like those 98 Bulls. Be like, I don't know, Seal is going crazy over there. I thought you were gone. I was into this bad boy.
I know. I just wanted to. You talked about Giannis real quick.
Yeah.
And I really want people to appreciate it because everybody flags him right now because of his shooting. But the way the NBA is and the way training and athleticism and all the coaching is, in 2 years, this dude is going to have a jumper that's outrageous.
I can't
wait. Look at Kawhi. When he came out of San Diego State, he was a defensive dude who was pretty good at getting fouls and making free throws, and board man gets paid. And he became a guy who had the boing, the boing, the boing, the boing, the boing. Let's get a ring in Toronto. Let's team up with Drake, and let's shut up little Clay over there calling my guy Aubrey. And it happens. It's going to happen with Giannis, and you have to appreciate it. You have to appreciate it. All right.
Yes.
I'm good.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And as always, be a stud, not a scrub.